Hello, Aries, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus, and welcome to your reading. So, Aries, today we're going to go over your energy as well as your person's energy. We're going to see how the both of you are currently viewing this relationship and how you guys feel about it and what actions you guys plan on taking each other's direction and are moving forward. So, with all that being said, Aries, let's get started. How does Aries currently view this relationship? All right, Aries, so we do have the Lovers out here. We also have the 10 of Swords, and it came out for you twice. Okay. Aries, in regards to how you're currently viewing this relationship, currently at the moment, you find yourself connecting with a soulmate of yours. Now, with the 10 of Swords coming out here, I'm getting nothing but discomfort coming from these two energies that you're essentially harnessing. With the Lovers coming out here, I do feel like there's somebody here that, like I said, you find yourself connecting with, and they're definitely a soulmate. But I just feel like this dynamic between the two of you, it really does scare you, but it also makes you feel extremely uncomfortable, primarily because you find yourself in a very vulnerable position right now. Because you're falling for this person, you're developing a lot of emotions for them, and it could all be happening at a very, very rapid pace, Aries. It's just kind of scaring you and making you feel extremely uncomfortable and extremely vulnerable. Now, for some of you, you might find yourself essentially thinking, well, there must be something wrong with this person. Maybe this is like a sign from the universe that I shouldn't trust this person or pursue this person, a life with this person. I don't feel like that's what's happening here with you, Aries. Just to kind of clear the air on that, if for any reason you might find yourself feeling like that's the reason why you feel the way that you feel, I just think that you find yourself in a very vulnerable situation right now. And it's kind of scary, it's kind of scary, especially if you were somebody prior to essentially meeting this person that was very, very like protective, over your heart space. The fact that you find yourself falling for this person, like I said, could definitely explain why you're so afraid of this connection. It could also explain why you feel as uncomfortable as you do. Okay. I just kind of feel like prior to you meeting this person, you were just very, very guarded and protective over your heart space. And it just kind of looks like this person found a way to your heart, basically. To the point where, yeah, you are definitely falling for this person. And it is definitely extremely scary, for you. But I don't necessarily feel like there's anything wrong with the actual person that you're connecting with. I think that that's just essentially what's going on within you. But of course, we're going to look at this person and see what we end up getting here for this person. So let's get into that. How does this person currently view this relationship with Aries? Okay. So we do have the King of Swords. We do have the Two of Wands. And then we also have the Seven of Cups out here. Okay. In regards to how this person is currently viewing you and their relationship with you, I do want to look a little bit more into the Seven of Cups, but there is an overall energy of this person feeling extremely overwhelmed by this connection, like emotionally speaking, is basically what I'm getting off of this person's energy. With the King of Swords coming out here for this person, I mean, you could be dealing with an Aquarius or a Gemini or a Libra. It doesn't necessarily have to be the case, but this person does harness Aquarian-like energy, so they might just have Aquarius within their chart. But the King of Swords is somebody who has a very difficult time embracing their emotional body. Unfortunately, they definitely do have a very difficult time embracing their emotional body. Embracing their emotional body, at least for a King of Swords like energy, makes them feel extremely uncomfortable. So with that being said, the fact that we have the Seven of Cups out here, that's kind of telling me that this person, more than likely finds themselves developing a lot of emotions for you. And it is in a way causing them to feel very overwhelmed as well as uncomfortable. Because again, a King of Swords is somebody who is, somebody who just typically doesn't like to embrace their emotional body because of how uncomfortable it makes them feel. A King of Swords is somebody who doesn't really understand their own emotions to the fullest extent because they're very logical based people. These are not emotionally based people whatsoever. So with that being said, the fact that they find themselves developing emotions for you, it is definitely starting to cause this person to feel extremely overwhelmed. I am definitely getting that. I'm not really worried and concerned about, them feeling extremely overwhelmed by this connection, because I don't feel like it's gonna like prompt this individual to run in the opposite direction of you or anything like that. Just like when we look at you and your energy, you're definitely falling for this person, and it's definitely extremely scary for you as well as uncomfortable. But do I feel like it's going to prompt you to run in the opposite direction of this individual? I'm going to go ahead and say no. But another thing to kind of be aware of when it comes down to this King of Swords that you find yourself currently connecting with. A King of Swords is very, very big on testing people. That is just what the King of Swords is essentially known for. They're very, very big on testing people. A King of Swords is somebody who doesn't like to hand over their heart until they've been able to like fully like test that person that they're essentially considering giving their heart to the fullest extent. So this person's definitely going to essentially test you. I am definitely getting that this person's definitely going to test you to see if you're loyal, to see if you're trustworthy, to see if you are, worthy of them essentially handing their heart over to you. Let's look at the Seven of Cups, shall we? Tell me more about the Seven of Cups. Okay. So we do have the Death card. We also have the Six of Swords. And then we also have the Page of Wands. Okay. This dynamic between the two of you, it is going to create drastic, changes within this person's life. I am definitely getting that. Especially surrounding like this person's like emotional body. It's pretty evident to me that this person, typically doesn't like to embrace their emotional body because of how uncomfortable it makes them essentially feel. Also too, because they don't really understand their own emotions like that. I mean, this is a very logical based person that we're talking about here. So I do believe that this dynamic between the two of you, it will definitely change this person's life in a very, very positive way. It's just going to make this person more in tune with their emotional body, is primarily what I'm getting. Okay. So with that being said, it just kind of looks like this is going to be a very uncomfortable ride, I would say, for the both of you, to be completely honest. I feel like it's going to be uncomfortable for you, Aries, because you are falling for this person, and you are falling for this person at a very rapid pace. This might even be like a brand new experience, for you, as far as how quickly you're falling for this individual is concerned. And that could, like I said, explain why you're, so worried and concerned about, what if it doesn't work out, things of that nature. But I think that this is going to be, for the most part, an uncomfortable ride for the both of you. I am definitely getting that, but again, I'm not really worried and concerned about it, okay? Let's see how this person's currently feeling. How does this person currently feel? Okay. So we do have the Emperor, we do have the Seven of Wands, and then we also have the Knight of Wands. Okay. So in regards to how this person currently finds themselves feeling within this dynamic that they share with you, with the Seven of Wands coming out here, that's kind of telling me that this person is going to start to become extremely guarded with their heart, is basically what I'm getting with that Seven of Wands like energy. The reason why they're falling into the Seven of Wands like energy is because they're starting to essentially notice themselves developing a lot of emotions, for you. And as I mentioned, because you're dealing with a King of Swords like energy, when a King of Swords starts to find themselves falling for someone, it starts to get very overwhelming. It starts to get very, very scary. And it starts to cause them to essentially feel extremely scattered, okay? It also causes them to feel like they're putting themselves in a predicament to potentially get hurt because they're developing all of these emotions for you. So I do feel like this person's going to attempt, I'll say that, they're gonna attempt, to not allow themselves to become too attached or emotionally invested. Now, I don't necessarily feel like this is gonna work, to be completely honest. If I'm just being honest, I don't feel like this is gonna work. I feel like in the past, when this person would find themselves developing emotions for somebody, they were really good at just turning that switch off, just turning, their emotions off, for that person. And it has a lot to do with the fact that emotions for a King of Swords like energy makes them extremely uncomfortable. They don't fully understand it, and it causes them to feel vulnerable. And a King of Swords is somebody who does not like to feel vulnerable whatsoever. So I think that this person was really, really, really good at like detaching themselves emotionally from people, turning off that emotional switch. But With you, I just don't see it working out. I just don't see it working out. We've already discovered that this dynamic between the two of you is going to drastically, change this person's life in the sense where they're going to find themselves becoming in tune with their emotional body and embracing their emotional body. So that in itself alone is kind of telling me that even if this person tries their freaking hardest to not become attached to you, to not become emotionally invested in you, it's not going to essentially work, because it was already revealed to us that this dynamic between the two of you, it is going to cause this person to tap into their emotional body and embrace their emotional body. And embrace, the fact that they're falling for you and that they're in love with you. So they're going to try, I guess, to not allow themselves to become, emotionally invested or attached to you. But I just don't foresee that really working out in this person's favor, okay? Now, even though this person's going to find themselves trying their hardest to not become emotionally attached and or invested, when it comes down to you and their relationship, with you, they're still going to find themselves nonetheless, feeling very drawn to you and your energy. So I don't want you to think that because this person is trying their hardest to stop developing emotions for you and not become attached to you, that it's going to prompt this person to like distance themselves or anything like that, because I don't see it playing out that way. I see them trying to stop developing emotions for you while continuing to pursue you and this dynamic that they share with you. And that's the thing, is that the more this person continues to pursue you and this dynamic that they share with you, the more they're going to find themselves developing emotions for you. And that's going to be something that they're not going to be able to essentially stop, which is something that this person will discover at a later date, is basically what I'm getting for them. Okay, back to you, my friend. How does Aries currently feel? Aw. We have the Star, we have the King of Pentacles, and then we also have the Nine of Wands. Yeah, you basically look at this person like they're the one for you. It's basically what I'm getting. You look at them like they're a King of Pentacles, like energy. For those of you who don't know this, the King of Pentacles is considered to be the perfect partner card. So in your eyes, you look at this person like, oh my God, like they're perfect for me. Like I've been waiting for someone like this my whole entire life, and they're finally here. So although you are extremely happy that you finally essentially met the one, you're still fucking scared nonetheless. You're still freaking scared, okay? Yeah, because I think that like, man, if this doesn't work out, like this is gonna freaking hurt you. You know that, if this person were to ever, God forbid, get up and walk out of your life, it's gonna hurt you. It's gonna devastate you. That's how deep in you are already when it comes down to this person. So, it makes sense as to why you're showing up as the Nine of Wands. Nine of Wands just represents somebody, who feels, very, very vulnerable, and you do feel very, very vulnerable when it comes down to this person. You definitely do. Because you're falling for them and you're falling for this person extremely hard. And it's scary. It's extremely scary. But what actions will Aries take towards this person or moving forward? Very nice, very nice, very nice. So you might find yourself feeling guarded right now. You might find yourself extremely fearful of this dynamic between the two of you right now. But that will definitely go away. That will definitely dissipate. I do see you eventually reaching this point of feeling like it's safe for you to go there with this person. Hence why I see you, taking that leap of faith towards them and, your relationship with them. So again, not really worried and concerned about this fear that you're carrying around with you. You'll eventually reach this point of feeling like it's safe for you to essentially go there with this person. It's safe for you to invest all that you have to essentially give into this person, your relationship with them. With the Six of Swords coming out here, that's kind of telling me that you'll eventually find yourself, realizing you don't really have anything to worry about when it comes down to this person, okay? So if you find yourself currently worried right now, like, oh my God, like what if this happens? What if that happens? You're not going to find yourself thinking that way in the near future, okay? You will find yourself having peace of mind within your relationship with this person, okay? Just give it some time. I think that the more you spend time with this person, the more you get to know this person, the more you're going to start to find yourself feeling like, okay, like, like I actually don't have anything to worry about like I thought I did. Okay. What actions will this person take towards Aries or moving forward? So we do have the Tower out here. We also have the Eight of Pentacles, and then we also have the Knight of Swords. Okay, this is where it starts to kind of get a little interesting. What I'm about to say is very, very typical to see when dealing with a King of Swords like energy. Just don't be alarmed by it, okay? Or at least try not to be alarmed by it. Okay, so the thing with the King of Swords is that when the King of Swords starts to find themselves falling in love with a person, which I do believe that this person's over here falling in love with you, what they try to do is stop themselves from continuing to develop more emotions for that person. Because a King of Swords is somebody who understands that anything that you become emotionally attached to, you run the risk of eventually suffering from when you essentially lose it in the end, okay? Because that's where suffering comes from, attachment, right? And the King of Swords essentially knows that. They understand that anything that you allow yourself in this life to become emotionally attached to, if in the event you ever lose it, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer, right? Nobody is going to suffer over things that they're not attached to. People suffer over things that they're attached to the moment that they essentially lose it, okay? So the King of Swords is somebody who understands that to the fullest extent, and this is why, okay? The King of Swords is very, very big on not allowing themselves to become emotionally attached to things because they understand that once you lose it, it's gonna freaking hurt, right? Now, here's the thing, right? Because this person's still gonna find themselves, technically speaking, pursuing you and this dynamic that they share with you, it's gonna cause them to develop even more emotions for you, which is something that this person will, realize very, very soon, right? So this whole let me turn off my emotions, let me not get attached, they're gonna realize in the end it's just simply not gonna work. Not this time, anyways. Then what typically happens with the King of Swords is that the King of Swords tries to look for reasons to become emotionally detached from that person that they are developing emotions for. It's a common thing. It truly is a common thing to see with the King of Swords. Because once the King of Swords realizes, oh snap, this switch, where I'm able to turn my emotions on and off, it's just not working anymore. That's when they start looking for reasons, right? To not allow themselves to continue to become emotionally invested, into that person. And that's basically what I see this person doing. Okay. Unfortunately, Aries. I do see this person, looking for reasons, to become emotionally detached from you and this dynamic that the two of you share with one another. Unfortunately for them, I don't necessarily feel like this person's gonna find what they're looking for as far as like the reason, why they should emotionally detach themselves from you is concerned. If anything, they're going to stumble across 99 reasons as to why they should continue to allow themselves to essentially fall for you, instead of reasons why they shouldn't, if that makes any sense. So they're going to find themselves chasing their own tail around more of the freaking story, okay? Let's see what else we can get here. Okay, come on. All right, so we have the Wheel of Fortune, we have the Justice card, and then we also have the Nine of Cups. I mean, there's going to come a point in time where this person's going to stop chasing their own tail around and just accept the fact that they finally found a really, really good thing. You know what I mean? Like I said, this person will eventually learn to embrace, their emotions for you as well as their emotional body. It's going to take some time. It is going to take some time. This journey for them is going to be a little uncomfortable. I will say that. But once this person is able to embrace their emotions for you, accept their emotions for you, as well as embrace their emotional body, they're not going to find themselves feeling this discomfort that they essentially feel currently at the moment. They're not going to find themselves feeling overwhelmed by this connection once they're able to accept the emotions that they have for you as well as their emotional body. With the Justice card to the Wheel of Fortune, I feel like this person's finally getting exactly what they deserve. Somebody who's going to love them, respect them, treat them right, is going to be committed and devoted to them as well as loyal to them. They're finally getting what it is that they essentially deserve and what it is that they've always essentially wanted at the end of the day, because the Nine of Cups basically speaks of wish fulfillment. They've been wanting someone like you. They've been waiting for someone like you. I just kind of feel like they came into contact with a lot of people that weren't necessarily like you. That's why it was so easy, for this person to detach themselves emotionally from, people, because people made it easy for them to detach themselves, emotionally. because that person was untrustworthy, or that person was sneaky, or that person was a liar. Like, these people that they were coming into contact with just made it extremely easy for this person to attach themselves emotionally. Because I don't want to make it seem like you're dealing with, like, this robot or this, like, cold-hearted person, because a King of Swords, believe it or not, like, they truly do feel a lot. They truly do feel a lot. This is why when they start to find themselves developing emotions for someone, it gets so scary and uncomfortable, because they feel a lot. They truly do feel a lot. But I think that the King of Swords, tends to kind of get this bad rap that, oh, that they're just these, like, emotionally detached individuals that feel absolutely nothing. Like, it's not like that. It truly is not like that. These are the type of people that when they fall, man, they fall really, really hard, to the point where it does scare the shit out of them. And considering the fact that a King of Swords is somebody who typically doesn't understand, even their own emotions, like, you could see how that could possibly be extremely scary, for this person that you find yourself connecting with, because here they are falling for you, and they're falling for you at a very rapid pace. And everything's happening so freaking quickly, and the fact that this person is not comfortable with embracing their emotional body makes things very challenging and difficult. The fact that this person doesn't really understand their own emotions, that's what also makes this person feel extremely, uncomfortable and fearful of this connection. But I'm not really worried and concerned, to be honest, about this person, or even you. The only thing that I will say, is that this person is going to look for reasons. That's the only thing that I do see you having to essentially deal with, is them constantly looking for reasons, to walk away, to detach themselves, like, emotionally. So you might perceive all of this as somebody who basically has, like, these massive trust issues, just due to, like, past traumas and, things that they've been through in previous relationships. I don't feel like this has anything to do with past traumas per se. I think that this has a lot to do with the simple fact that this person just simply doesn't trust people like that with their heart. This doesn't really have anything to do with what their ex put them through. This doesn't have anything to do with the things that they've been through prior to meeting you. It has nothing to do with any of those things. It has everything to do with them not really trusting people like that with their heart. You know what I mean? It takes a lot for this person to hand over their heart to a person. It takes a whole freaking lot. You know what I mean? Like, that person has to literally be everything that they essentially want within a person, and then some, in order for them to turn around and just hand their heart to just whoever. You know what I mean? Like, so with that being said, I just kind of feel like in the meantime, until they figure out, right? That it is safe for them to essentially trust you, with their heart, they're going to find themselves chasing their own tail around. But I keep getting that you're going to perceive all of this as, oh, well, it's just because they've been hurt many times, or it's just because they went through this. It's just because they went through that. It truly has nothing to do with that. It truly has nothing to do with that. A King of Swords is somebody who, like, they're also known for this. When a relationship in their life comes to an end, they completely, like, erase that person in their mind, and they just move forward and move on with their life. You know what I mean? These are not the type of people that are, affected by what said person put them through. No, no, no. Like, once that relationship comes to an end, they just completely erase it from their mind. And just move forward and move on with their life. And these are the type of people that, like, can literally completely forget, you know what I mean? About their ex, and never think about their ex ever again, or whatever it is that they went through with that person, from their past. They won't find themselves from time to time thinking about how that person did them wrong. No, unless somebody asks them about their past, that's the only time they'll ever think about their past. So this has nothing to do, honestly, with their past. This has everything to do with the fact that they're falling for you, and they just want to make sure, you know what I mean, that before they hand their heart over to you, you know what I mean, you're not going to turn around and crush it. You're not going to turn around and break it. You know what I mean? That's pretty much it. So they're going to go down this rabbit hole of, trying to essentially look for things, trying to double check and make sure that you are trustworthy, that you are loyal, that you are committed, that you are devoted. And once this person is able to accept the fact that, all right, boom, I got a good thing, I don't have a shit to worry about, they'll be fine. And this relationship will be fine, and everything will be fine. They just need to chase their own tail around a little bit, you know what I mean, before they essentially reach this point of accepting the fact that they just simply have a good thing, aka you and their relationship with you. All right, so that is what I have for you. Hopefully the reading helped, hopefully it resonated, and I will see you guys in your next reading.